Hey guys, how's everybody doing tonight? Sorry about the delay there. I was blowing my nose, of course. I had to blow my nose as soon as I was getting ready to go on the live. So I'm just gonna, I feel like I just gotta turn my mic or my camera off for just a second. I feel like there was something on my eye. So, okay. Sorry. Welcome back. Hi, everybody. San Antonio, Texas. I don't know if we have a lot of people in here from Texas. We have a couple people. Hey, Avery, how you doing? Hey, Alicia. I saw Summer was in here and Jan, and I saw there was a lot of people in here. I was excited. I was like, this is a good live. Hi, Yankee Kyle. I usually sneak into the live before. Hey, Brooklyn. I was just going back up. I usually sneak into the live, before I come on, but tonight and last night I didn't get a chance to sneak back in. So Mary Beth was here. I'm going to put the link for the membership in the chat for you guys if you'd like to become a member. But how are you guys doing? You're from Fort Worth, Texas? Well, look at that. If you say we don't have a lot of people from Texas, I bet we hear a lot of people now. I say that about Ohio, though, too. And I am going on a vacation. I forget the dates again. I've asked Vincent, I think 4 times today. I think it's the 12th through the 17th, but you're all coming with me. You're all coming along. I'm going to do some, hey, Legendary. I'm going to do some lives, from out there, just from out in California. I'll probably do like some true crime stuff. I'll probably have my, I'm gonna have my camera with me, but I don't know if I'll use it. I might use my webcam, but we'll see. We'll see. We're just going to do it. You're from Fort Worth, Texas also? T. Salas, I thought you were, for some reason, I thought you were from where I'm from, in like Ohio. I didn't know that. Oh, look at that. See? So we do have some updates. So Nancy is good with getting people to say stuff. I've learned that today from Miss Nancy Grace, which I should have known that already, which she's over here. I'll have to move her behind me here in a little bit. But the sheriff for this case, Jeff Gahler, he actually went on her panel and talked with them. So I was like kind of blown away because Nancy can be kind of tough. I'm a little scared of Nancy. So actually I'm a lot scared of Nancy. That's why she's all the way back there and I'm all the way over here. Just kidding. If she does move tonight, that's just me moving her. By the way, I moved her last night and I think I freaked some people out. So if you guys don't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, it does go a long way. And we'll get into some stuff here just in a moment. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're returning Chitin, if you're a Chitin, I don't know what that is, but if you're returning Titan, welcome on back for yet another live. It's good to see everybody. It really is. I was going to ask you guys actually a question before we start, and I'll let the chat like fill up a little bit more, and then I'll ask it. It's not a big thing, but if you do want to become a member of our channel, I will put the channel membership into the chat for you guys, and I do that throughout the live. So does Nightbot. So if you guys want to become a member, and I guess I can ask now. Maybe I'll ask now, and I'll ask later too. And then if you're watching this on a replay, just comment below, 1 or 2 with your answer. So put a 1 in the chat because I'm just trying to get a feel for what you guys like, what you guys like, and stuff with the channel. So put a 1 in the chat if you would rather see more morning / like afternoon lives, like anywhere from 11 a.m. till like 2 or 3 p.m. So if 11 to 3 p.m. is a good time for you, put a 1 in the chat. If you like it at 8:15 and you're like, don't you touch it, put a 2 in the chat if you think 8:15 is a really good time for you. I just figured I would give you guys an option. And then if I ever want to do a live during the morning or afternoon, I kind of have a feel for how many people are around. And I knew Legendary was going to put in a random number. I knew that. And then if you're, watching on replay, just put a 1 or a 2 in the comments, and then I'll know. I know, Summer, you're at work. No, I know you are. And we'll be like streaming trials and stuff soon too. So, we'll have time for everybody. I just noticed there's only like 1 or 2 people that I've noticed that do true crime that go live during the day. And I'm like, Because we used to do lives during the day. Oh, you're at work till 5 on a good day? Oh, okay. Well, I'm not gonna leave the nighttime lives, but I thought about maybe picking up some days. But if everyone was like days are way better, then I was gonna be like, oh, but I would be here first. Me and Summer would just have our own lives at night. Just kidding. And Brooklyn. Your days vary. Okay. Awesome. Justice Jane, that's the perfect answer. Either way is fine. I don't know what that made me I don't know why that made me think of this, but I'll tell you a little funny story while I'm bringing this stuff up that I was going to show you first. So actually, I'll wait to bring it up. Today, I had a doctor's appointment, I thought, at 10 a.m. And it's via Zoom, so it's not a big deal, it's just like via Zoom. But it was for my counselor, and I don't know if you guys see a counselor or not, but someone that sees one, if you're like especially if you're introverted, like I really am introverted, it takes a lot for me to get like ready for that, mentally ready for that. I don't care physically what I look like. I'm over Zoom. But I sat here for 40 minutes today in front of my computer, well, back there where Rocky is. And I'm like, where's she at? She's always on time. And it was like, your host is just like going to let you in. So I was like, oh, my host is going to let me in. And she never showed up. So I called and I was reading stuff. So I completely like didn't even know to notice the time. And they're like, your appointment's tomorrow. And I'm like, are you kidding? So now I got to do this all again tomorrow. So just say a little prayer for me. So it's good to see everyone coming in. Well, good. I'm going to grab my drink really quick and then we're going to get started. I just figured I'd ask you guys about that extra, time to go live. Did you see Rocky back there? Oh my gosh. Oh my. He looks so cute. His eyes are closed. I lint roll that chair at least twice a day. I'll get all his hair off and then he goes and sits again. Got me. But he is the cutest. And he's actually sitting back there. He likes you guys. He's usually like out like trout. Like as soon as I go live, as soon as I shut the door, like he doesn't like doors closed and he's cool. He's just, and he's the cutest. He's my world. He really is. I've had him 14 years. So literally there's other than Vincent and my dogs, there's nothing that I have that's worth more to me than that cat. And he knows it. I did. I don't know if you guys saw it real quick, but I did a TikTok and I put it on there today about me going to PetSmart just for him. But we are going to talk about Rachel Morin tonight, and I'm sure everyone's pretty familiar with the case. Hey, Victorine, I didn't even know she came in here, and she's a member. How are you? Oh, I didn't know you were a redhead. I never looked at your picture that close. I like it. Do you have a new picture? It's a cute one. Hi, Nightbot. That's cute. So let me get my notes over here so I can kind of get my bearings to me. So like I said, tonight's live, we're going to just go back over the Rachel Morin case. On our last live, we went over a press conference and we got a suspect. They have a suspect, in mind now. So we're kind of just going to go through the timeline and go through a few things. And then I have, the Nancy Grace podcast or the video. And then I made a little chart for you guys about the two cases, the similarities and the differences. And we'll go over those at the end. And I think it's a pretty good little chart. Oh, thank you, Jan. He's working for it tonight. There you go, buddy. $2 for your treats. He's happy. Thank you, Jan. He'll be super happy when he gets some treats because he loves them. He's so bad. He gets more treats than anybody. So I'm sure everybody in the chat has, heard about the Rachel Morin case by now. But if you haven't, I'm going to go over an article that I had found, and it's like a timeline article. So it's going to kind of summarize everything and give us a better idea of what, is going on in a timeline kind of fashion. So TLC, you've been a member for 5 months. Oh my gosh, look at that. One more month, you get that rainbow arm. Green's your favorite color, Doodlebug. Mine too. Okay, let me get this stuff up for us. I have so many tabs open because tomorrow we're going to go back to Idaho and I have a bunch of stuff open for that. So forgive me. Here we go. Okay. So we'll just start with this and we'll make our way to where we are now. I know we need to figure out another color for the 1 year membership now. Vincent had a good idea to do teal and then do the rainbow arm for a year, but I don't want everyone to have to wait. But if everyone at least has the rainbow arm for a little bit before we switch it, like, you know, who else is on 5 months? I wonder if we have anybody else. Because I hate to switch it, but I don't know what color to do after the rainbow. We'll have to think of something. If you have a color in mind, let me know. So this just says, this is from E! News, everything to know about the Rachel Morin murder investigation. And it says, well, up here it says, Rachel Morin, 37, went out for a hike and died a violent death. According to authorities, here's everything to know about the ongoing search for her killer. And I will say this, in the podcast, they say, like, they're given different scenarios. And, you know, Nancy's super fast and like she's firing them off. Well, she said something to the sheriff, like, well, I know you're not going to tell me if any of these are true or not. And he's like, you've gotten some things right and you've gotten one thing wrong. Like, it sounded like there was this, like, one thing was wrong. And so then they're like trying to figure out what the one thing was, you know, if it was like the rock or the part, you know, about her being found on her back or, you know, things like that. It's a good podcast. So it'll be good for us to watch to get kind of caught up with everything too. So on August 5th, and that was on a Saturday, Rachel Morin went out for an early evening walk along a well-trodden trail in Bel Air, Maryland, and never came home. A citizen called 911 the next day shortly after 1 p.m. to report finding a woman's body off to the side of the Ma and Pa, as in Maryland and Pennsylvania trail. According to Harford County Sheriff Jeff Gahler, turning what had been a missing person search into a homicide investigation. I'm glad they tell us what that Ma and Pa meant, because I had no idea. And that means Maryland and Pennsylvania trail. Makes sense. Okay. The 37-year-old mother of 5 was last seen at 6 p.m. and her boyfriend reported her missing at 11:23 p.m. Gahler said during an August 6th news conference, I'm going to read that again because I kind of said that. I read that kind of weird. So the 37-year-old mother of 5 was last seen at 6 p.m. and her boyfriend reported her missing at 11:23 p.m. Gahler said during an August 6th press conference. Investigators found Morin's car parked in a lot at the trailhead where the boyfriend indicated the vehicle would be. The sheriff continued, and his office issued a public notice that was shared more than 11,000 times. And I do have a picture of the map, too, of the Ma and Pa Trail. That's been a good side of social media, Gahler noted. The bad side is there's also been a lot of false or early information shared that we don't want to see. We don't want to see false news out there. What was the early information shared? Is that the guy that, maybe that's the guy that was with his stepdaughter that found her? Because I'm not discrediting his stepdaughter finding her. So maybe, you know, maybe it was just too soon for, you know, they just didn't want that information, those details out. That's kind of like what we were saying too, you know. Thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's going to go in Rocky's fund too. He's going to have his own little fund. Don't you tempt me. I'm going to put a little tip jar there for a little Rocky. And then we'll just go buy him. We'll go to Target for Rocky. He's earning it. I keep saying I want to get him a cat tree. I think that he would like that, like a little perch. Thank you so much. Again, I appreciate that. Where are we at? Okay, so I already read that. So here she is. Characterizing the trail as generally safe place that was important to their town, he advised those using it to stay vigilant and pay attention to their surroundings. And he actually lives, the sheriff, he lives off of the Ma and Pa Trail. Like his backyard goes to a section of the Ma and Pa Trail. I don't know why my nose is always itching. We looked that up though. I think I'm gonna get some money soon. And when it comes to Morin's case, which he called a very active criminal investigation, Gahler said, if you think you have just the smallest tidbit of information, You saw something in this young lady's travels yesterday to the trail or on the trail. Investigators would like to talk to you. At that time, the sheriff added they had no suspects and he could not definitively say there was no further threat to the community. Right now, he said, detectives continue to work the case as aggressively as they possibly can, and we will leave no stone unturned. Now, I'm assuming that the FBI is involved in this case now because this is federal state lines, but that I haven't really heard. Have you guys heard? And let me move the chat over here. I can't see it whenever I'm reading. I hate that. I have this extra screen right here. That's why we bought the extra screen, but I'm using it for my notes. So I'll just put the iPad over here. Oops. Sorry, guys. I'm getting older. If you know you're getting older if you can't work the iPad. So what it says, what happened to Rachel Morin? No specific cause of death or further details about the crime scene have been released, but Gahler has referred to what happened to Morin as a violent homicide. And we heard from if we're going to go by the guy that, his stepdaughter supposedly found Rachel, he said that there was a bloody, rock near her and that there was a lot of blood around. It was more than obviously apparent to police officers and our detectives who came up at this was not an accidental injury. Somebody out exercising who's fallen down and sustained a fatal injury, the sheriff told Fox News Digital. It was not something that was self-inflicted. This was the action of one or more persons who took her life in a criminal homicide and an we're not even trying. Horrific act in what is otherwise a very, very safe area. I swear my mouth doesn't let me pronounce some words. There were 10 detectives assigned to Morin's case. Gahler shared in an August 10th video posted to the Harford County Sheriff's Facebook page, along with forensic investigators and crime analysts that were working around the clock to piece together the hours, minutes, and seconds leading up to her death. Gahler said that some of the hundreds of tips that came in had been promising and tremendous and advancing the investigation and bringing us closer to getting the answers that we need, the answers that Rachel's family needs and the answers that this community needs. And since many people have asked, the sheriff said his reply was yes. They have interviewed Rachel's boyfriend along with many other people who are close to Rachel. This is the way an investigation is conducted. We start with people in her close inner circle and go from there. Together, Gahler concluded, we will solve this crime and find this heinous coward who took Rachel Morin from her family and friends. And this is the latest on the investigation. Authorities encouraged anyone with information to come forward, though they also reminded people to be prudent when it came to discussing the case publicly, particularly online. If people are putting false information out there or guesses out there coming up with their own theories of what happened and people are running with that, they can distract our investigation. Harford Sheriff William Davis told ABC affiliate on August 11th, because if people have leads, we're going to follow up on those leads, and we want our detectives focused on things that are actual facts and not things that are made up by other people. Also on August 11th, the sheriff's office shared that detectives have identified and contacted 5 people who are walking their dogs on the trail between 6 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. The night Morin was headed to the trail and may have been among the last to see her alive. In the meantime, authorities have increased patrols along the Ma and Pa Trail, Sheriff Gahler telling WBAL, not knowing whether this was a targeted event specific to Rachel, we are going to say be aware, be thinking there could be somebody out there, and this is a random event. County officials also acknowledged the clamor for cameras to be installed along the trail, a portion of which goes through the tunnel. It's unfortunate that it takes a tragedy for us to recognize our vulnerabilities and address those. I want the trails to be used, he said. I want it to remain the wonderful asset that it is for our community and recognize in order to maintain that wonderful asset. We're going to have to put the money into putting the cameras there and maintaining an appropriate level of safety. And since this article came out, they actually do have, they are installing cameras on the mall and Paw Trail now. It says, is there a suspect in the Rachel Morin case? The person responsible for Rachel's death could be someone who came to learn that routine and knew where she might be at the time, or it could be a random person. Note, Gahler told Fox News Digital on August 8th, noting that the victim led an active lifestyle and it wasn't unusual for her to be out. On August 17th, Colonel Davis told police that DNA found at the Morin crime scene had been analyzed by Maryland State Police and entered into the combined DNA index system, CODIS, where it matched evidence collected from a March home invasion in Los Angeles during which a young girl was assaulted. They have not yet identified the suspect, Davis said at a news conference, but they believe that the figure seen on the doorbell cam footage obtained by LAPD from the house where the alleged assault occurred is their guy. So far, he explained the DNA hasn't showed up in any other law enforcement databases from a prior arrest, etc., and they are working with experts from the FBI crime lab to further analyze the sample. Sorry, guys. I feel like, okay, I have a question. Okay. Sorry. I couldn't see the chat when I'm reading, when I'm looking down. That's on my blind side. What'd you need? Sorry. Murdoch and Koberger. Did someone ask what my favorite cases were? I could tell you. I mean, if I have a favorite. CEO. Let me know your question. Was I going to answer it? Yeah, just let me know. Oh, there it is, Mary Beth. Mary Beth asked, Tanya, what has been your favorite case to cover? My favorite, okay, to be truthful with y'all, my favorite is Carly Russell. That's my favorite. That was my favorite. I mean, we had fun. I mean, that was like, you know what I mean? Like, if I had to say my favorite, we had a huge chat when we were talking about her. We had, it was fun live. We were all laughing because, well, the first live we weren't, but we were all side-eyeing each other. We're like, what's going on? Where's she at? Where'd she go? And then by the second, third live, we were just done. We were just loving life. Now we have the cheese emoji. So it works. It works out. So that would have to be my favorite because they're really hard. But I'd have to say probably Idaho and Kylie Rodney, because Kylie Rodney got me into this, kind of got me into the true crime. Not true crime, but into the YouTube true crime. So that was a good question, though. Let's see, where were we at? Okay, we're down here. So this is him. I'm going to show you a better, I got a better image of him too. It says the doorbell footage, which is posted on the Harford County Sheriff's social media accounts, shows a man wearing pants but no shirt. He appears to be carrying a piece of clothing, leaving through the front door of the house. From their analysis of the video and witness observations, Davis said they were looking for a male, Hispanic descent in his early to mid-20s, height approximately 5'9" and weighing about 160. How do they know he's Hispanic? I can't tell by the Ring doorbell. I think the girl that he assaulted, I think she's the one that came forward and she said she believes that he was. It says, we knew nothing about him, Davis said, other than he was in LA and committed that crime in March, and he was here in August, and we believe him to be the murder of Rachel Morin. I know we have Maud, and we haven't have Nookie in here yet to show her Maud. Kelly P, me too. I'm surprised there still isn't a name. I'm surprised that this person hasn't, well, we don't know, but I mean, struck again. They may have, I'm hoping not, but not in that area anyway. And says, what has Rachel Morin's family said about her death? They said this was not an accident. accidental death. She did not go willingly, and she deserves a funeral worthy of her beauty. Sister Rebecca Morin wrote on a GoFundMe page she set up for funeral expenses and Rachel's kids. Let me see if I can open this. Yeah, I can. On August 18th, and has raised more than $48,000. If there are any remaining funds, they will go towards things her 5 children may need. The family also planned a memorial walk on the Maw Trail for the morning of August 19th, so we can grieve the tragic loss of a woman who was full of life. Rebecca wrote on Facebook, "Please join us as we pray and mourn for our beloved Rachel." Mom Patty Morin wrote on Facebook, "If you have experienced the loss of a dear loved one, then you know how hard it can be to express the pain that you feel in your heart. When it's sudden and tragic, your mind looks for ways to cope. As a mom, I appreciate the outpouring of love and support from family, friends, and the worldwide community that grieves with me for my young daughter. Thank you for caring truly." A celebration of life for Rachel is scheduled for August 27th at Greater Grace Church of Baltimore. Those with information into Rachel's murder have been asked to contact the Harford County Sheriff's Office at 410-836-7788. And they do have an email line, and it's RM, kind of like Rachel Morin, rmtips@harfordsheriff.org. So that's the article. I just wanted to get kind of everybody caught up. That was the best one I could find that had like everything in it. And I wanted to share this with you guys. I've shared this before. So this is her GoFundMe, and it is from her sister. I'm going to post the link for the membership in the chat, and I'm going to post this link in there since I'm going to copy this one. And then the next one I'm going to post is going to be for her GoFundMe. If anybody wants to check it out, donate, or, just read about it. It'll be in the chat for you guys to do that. And welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it so much. If you guys wouldn't mind just taking a second, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love to have you. So subscribe. No, I'm just kidding. If you'd like to subscribe, we'd love to have you. So we'll keep it moving here. I do have a few things to share with you guys. I'm going to switch this back over. Back over here. Okay, so this is the suspect here. This isn't much of a better picture, but it's a little bit better. And I can always pull up the press conference again too, if you guys didn't get to see the video of him, or I could pull up the video of him going out the door. Has anyone not seen the video of him going out, like coming in and out? We can always look at it at the end, towards the end too. So they're saying that he's like 5'9", 160, Hispanic male. We don't know if he's from the LA area or if that's just where he committed his first crime. And then, he trucked it across the United States. I'm not sure which he did first and which he did second. Okay. I wanted to show you guys a map of the trail. So this is where her car was. It was like in this parking lot, I believe right here. That's where Richard Tobin said that her car would be. So if you're her, you're going to go park here and then you're just going to be like taking this trail. But if you see this trail, you can see like how long it is. And in a lot of places, it looks really heavily wooded. Like you could hide anywhere. Like it wraps around through here. Does anybody know for sure where she was found at on the trail? And then I guess you just you go across the highway if you want to go across the highway? Oh yeah, I guess that's what you do. Like, I wonder how far she would have been down, or I didn't realize it was this far. I'm just going with it. Yeah, it goes for a minute. I think that's as far as it goes. There we go. So that's the other parking lot. I would say she was probably down on this end somewhere, but does anyone know where she was found at for sure? I don't know. I know that there was a marker there, but I can't remember. Marker 24, marker 25. Why does the video only show him leaving and not coming in? So the sheriff actually answers that in the podcast. He said that they didn't get that part of the video yet. I don't know why not, but he said that he's hoping they're going to get some more video. So yeah, let me know if, as you guys are just like watching the live, if you can remember where she was found, and maybe we could pull it up, like not pull, but like pull up the location on the map and get a better idea. And there are a couple new posts on Richard Tobin's Facebook. Did that guy get arrested? No. So in California, no. So he did in Danielle. So there's no name for him. So what happened was the sheriff's office, or not the sheriff's, but the medical examiner or whoever, they found the DNA evidence on Rachel Morin's body. I don't know if it was under her fingernails, if there was some sort of SA assault, something like that. I'm not sure, but they got some DNA from her. And when they put it in their CODA system, which is normally like, it'll produce a name for like all felons that they put in that system. They, take their sample, their DNA and put it in there. For this reason, it came back with a match, but it didn't come back with a name. It came back with a match to another crime. So there's two crimes that have happened, one in California, one all the way out here in Maryland, and they both have the same DNA. So it's the same male, both assaults, probably more than likely, and then we got a video of him leaving this time, but so yeah, they got DNA from both places, just no name to connect him to. So that's the problem. Like he isn't in the system to connect his name. The genealogy. Maybe they need to call CC Morin. Let's get her in here, guys. I love CC Moore. Donna Wheeler, I believe that too. She said she definitely looked like a fighter. I hope she got him good. I believe that. Hey, Richie. It's okay. We're just getting started. I wanted to go over and show you guys some of, I'm going to close some of this stuff out. That way I don't keep using it. Here's the video. So I'll show you this too. This is Richard Tobin's Facebook. We saw this post like 5 days ago. This is just him saying after the press conference. He says, I hope they find the scum of the earth. Justice for Rachel. RIP. Love you, Rach. And I don't know if this is, okay, this video has no sound. I'm going to play this through a couple times so we can watch it, just in case you guys haven't seen it. But, you see this guy coming out the front door. And this is pretty good angle. I mean, like this looks a little bit better than the one they had on the press conference. But you see like him coming out the door. You can see the girl like opening the door, the victim. And then he turns around and maybe he says something to her. I don't know. But then like she slams the door because you'll see the reef or whatever's on the door. It like bounces. So I'll play it through like a few times. That way you guys can see it. And where did it go? There we go. Where's he going? Right there. Like he goes around the corner. I didn't notice that before. Like he doesn't walk out the front gate. There's usually like a front, like you can see the sidewalk. There's like a front gate, but it looks like he goes around the corner. Is he going to jump over the gate? Like, it looks like it's one of those gates that are like wrought iron with like the spokey things. I wouldn't want to be doing all that. I believe the victim in this case, I think that she was a minor. I believe she was doing what she had to do in that situation to get him the hell out of there. That's just me. I think he has shoes on. I saw shoes the other night. Let me see if I can play it again. I thought I did anyway. Like white shoes. This might not be the angle that we had it, but I'll go back like 1 second. There's something on his feet. I'm trying to see if I can go back any further. And his cell phone looks like it's on in his pocket. Trying to get it like on his feet more. Maybe once he's like off the porch. But yeah, I think he has tennis shoes on. I think anyway. I think he's done this before. I've heard other people say this was a hookup. Well, no, it wasn't. The police are coming out and they're saying this girl was assaulted. So are we going to believe what we think we're seeing, or are we going to believe the police and the victim? I'm going to believe the victim from right now. I mean, as far as I know, she's a victim and she was just doing what she had to do to get him out of there. Survival, I don't know. But she's a minor. And you'll hear that tonight from the sheriff. She was a minor. So Nookie's here. She said, "Oh my God, Maud says thank you." I'll tell Vincent. He picked her out. He loved that. He loved to pick out that cow. He was so excited about that. He was so excited. But I will say this, and I said this on the first live. If I didn't have any context behind this whole video, if this was just like me watching a video and someone said, "What do you think this is?" I would say a casual hookup or something, or that's probably what I would say. But knowing what the officers have said, and this is like a victim, and now hearing that she was a minor victim, then I believe, I don't know. That's a lot. That's heavy. That's really heavy. I'm so glad you've been a member for 3 months. Yeah, Brooklyn, you're right. Yeah, under the age of consent. Yeah, she was. Well, okay, Doodlebug. If it was a hookup, let's say, if this was a hookup and her parents reported him, then what made him go kill somebody else? Why would she say she's a victim? She said she was a victim back in March before this crime happened. So before August 5th, before Rachel was murdered, this girl came out and said, "This guy assaulted me." And then he drives cross country from between March and August, and then he commits a murder. You don't go from statutory rape to murder. I mean, I don't think so. I don't know. Do you think that sound? I mean, let me know, Doodlebug. I don't know. That just doesn't sound like it would be like that would be it. Like, I don't know. But we don't know his personality. I just think that I don't know. I think she was just probably doing what she had to do to survive. And whatever she did, she survived. I don't know that. I'm just glad that she survived it. Cause I mean, that's a lot. I don't know how old she is, but the sheriff does say that she's underage. And I went over to that and then I wanted to go back. I wanted to read more of his stuff. So there's just a couple things. He posted this 4 days ago, just a picture of him and Rachel. And then he posted this, I believe, on the 19th. So this is a picture of Rachel. I think this is out at her memorial. Um, Rest in peace, Rachel Morin. Love you, baby. You will be forever missed. You showed me how rewarding it was to be, I think it means a man, and treat you like a queen. Making you happy gave me joy every day, and I'm so glad I could give you that. Such a kind, genuine woman, mother, sister, and daughter. Love you, Buttercup. You're my angel now, and you will always be with me. Miss you, babe. That's sad. Could you imagine, like, just like you're in a new relationship and this happens? So I think it was survivor mode. I mean, but I will say this. So, and we'll have to talk about it more on our Idaho live. But you remember how we were talking about, like, when you, like, someone comes up from behind you, would you scream or would you just go into fight mode? Your girl here, I said I wouldn't make a noise, but I'm the biggest liar there is. When I said that, I was like, I didn't even think about it. I scream when Vincent comes into a room and I know he's coming in the room. He'll be talking to me and I turn around and I'm like, I don't know if it's part because I'm blind or trauma from an accident and all that, but I scream. Like, I'll go, whoa, like real loud. So I don't know if that's just me and maybe like, because I'm like built different, but I'm thinking if she was out there on this trail and somebody came out of the woods, and if she got a second to look at them, I would think she would make some sort of sound. It's just crazy that nobody heard anything, especially with like the homes, because there are homes that are backed up to the trail. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how we got in. I'm just wondering. Maybe that's why we don't see him coming into the house, Richie. Yeah. You made me think of how maybe he got in without. Wow. Yeah, Richard has been cleared. I think they took his DNA and stuff too. But yeah, I didn't think about that. Maybe because he was coming around that corner, maybe he went in through a window on the side and he parked over there somewhere. I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, it'll come out. It'll definitely come out. Trying to see. Okay, where my notes were. And then this is his little trip that he took. So he was in LA in March. I believe the crime against the underage, the minor, happened in March. And then you have him going from Los Angeles to Bel Air, Maryland between March and August, the beginning of August. Somebody said in the chat one night, maybe military. That could be. The haircut could definitely be. I mean, it's like, it looks pretty freshly done. And we were talking about that also. Or maybe he has family out here. Unless you have a map and you have like a dart and you're just throwing it at there, you're not going to pick Bel Air, Maryland. You would think you'd pick like a city or, I don't know, somewhere closer. If you want, I guess you want to get across the country, then you just, go across the country. Yeah, Brooklyn. No, I freeze before. I fly. I'm more of a flighter. I don't really freeze a lot, but I either fight or flight. I'm good at flight. See, I'm like, when the doorbell rings, I'm like, I'm out. Other than if I know something's coming, it's so bad. I'm going to put her GoFundMe in the chat again. And I hope they come out with another press conference soon. But let me know what you guys think about, why he would take a cross-country trip to get away from the crime that he committed. I mean, if it was just something simple like Sagittary or something, let's just say. I mean, I don't even know if the penalty is in California for that. I know in Ohio, if you're 16 or older, it's like consensual, wasn't it? Oh, okay, let me see. Oh, okay, so it's 18 and 18 there. I thought it was, but I wasn't for sure. Let me see. Let me see. Now I'm getting confused. It says it varies from state. Okay. So you can date someone 17. Like if you're 17, you can date someone that's 18. Just not no relations are allowed. So you have to be 18 and 18. I think in Ohio it's like 16 or 17. I'm pretty sure it's lower than that. Oh, I was reading the chat. Sorry. I got Yeah, yep, it was reported as yep, that's what it was. Yep, as I say, yep. Absolutely. And they said actually that she was a minor, and you'll hear it on the Nancy Grace podcast. I'm getting ready to play it for you. Oh no, I know. I didn't think like active military. I thought maybe like prior military. And like that's why like the sides were so like, particular. But there are a lot of men that are very particular about their hair. That's just really a given. Um, I don't know them. I'm just kidding. I have friends that are, but they go to the barber once a week or once every other week. They get their beard done. They get their hair done, and you can tell he's just got his hair done. He just got a fresh lineup, fade or whatever that's called, but it's fresh done. Nikki, I was thinking something like that too, construction or like I was thinking like for my brother, I don't know why I was thinking this, but my brother's like a welder and not with his company, but I know a lot of companies, they go like across the United States, when they're working. So I'm wondering if there's anything being built around there that would bring in a bunch of people, like a bunch of people, maybe not from the area. Yeah, or a dealer. Yeah. I just don't know how you would, or a cross country driver. Yeah. I think you or someone else said that in the chat one time. That was a good one too. Okay. You guys got some good ones. Like, you got some good answers. Okay. So, we'll play the Nancy Grace podcast or video. I keep saying podcast because I listened to the podcast version earlier today. And then after that, I have a time, or I have, like I made like a chart, like a graph, and it just says the similarities between, the two crimes and the differences. And then I figured we can add to them because I kind of did it kind of like quickly, not like quickly, but I was trying to think of as many as I could. And then I kind of like went blank. So I figured, we could just kind of go over it together. And then if we think of any more, we can put them in there. And then as we go through this, this whole process of this case, hopefully there's not another case and this isn't a budding serial killer, or maybe he already is and we don't know about it. He did go across country. There's a lot of different towns and a lot of different states in between California and Maryland. So I'm going to go ahead and play the Nancy Grace podcast for our video for us. And I have it down so it's not going to like make you guys scream when she first comes on. Oh, Nancy, she's behind me. Let me put Nancy up here real quick. Oops. She's right there. I'm gonna have to move her behind me so you guys can see her better. And then Rocky's still sleeping. He's working overtime tonight. He's probably dreaming about treats. Oh, I fed him right before he's done. I fed him before the live. He's gone. He's out. Bye, Rocky. See you later. And then there's Nancy back there. I am going to get, I have my other webcam, but I think what I'm going to use is my phone one night. I keep forgetting to do it and bring her up so it looks like she's on panel with me because I think that'd be hilarious. Yes, let's run those likes up. Thanks, Brooklyn. If you guys wouldn't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, I'll try not to interrupt the video too much, but I might here and there. But I'm going to play, like I said, Nancy Grace podcast. She's going to talk with Harford police sheriff Jeffery Gahler, And he talks about where they're at, like in the investigation. And he lets us know a little bit about what's going on in the investigation and what he can disclose at this time. And you're going to hear some details that you never heard before because, you know, Nancy's just good at her job. And she kind of got a little bit out of him. So I thought it was kind of interesting. And I've never really seen a sheriff on her panel before. I don't know if that's just something I can't remember, but I don't really like, other than them being like X, you know. So we'll go ahead and play Nancy. And if you guys have any questions about this case or any of our cases that we cover on the channel, just let me know in the chat and I'll try to answer them as best as I can for you. And thank you guys again for being here. I do appreciate it. I will put the channel membership in the chat in just a moment if you'd like to become a channel member. And if you guys like the channel, you know, you don't mind the creator and you want to subscribe, we would love to have you be part of our family. We really would. We're really growing over here. It's fun. Sorry, guys. I told you I wasn't going to do that to you, and I did it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
The community is stunned after they learn that hiker mom out on a very well-known trail, the Ma and Pa Trail, ends up brutally murdered and I think sex attacked as well. But in the last days, a major break in the case in the search for the killer of a mother of 5, so-called hiker mom, Rachel Morin. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us here at Fox Nation and Sirius XM 111. We have a very good idea who is the perp. First of all, take a listen to our friend, Colonel William Davis.
DNA evidence is part of nearly every modern day investigation. And in Rachel's case, DNA evidence was collected by our forensic services unit. That DNA was analyzed by the Maryland State Police, and it was ran through the National CODIS system. This DNA evidence has come back as a match, tied to a home invasion and an assault of a young girl in Los Angeles this past March. Unfortunately, that suspect has not been positively identified, but he did leave behind his DNA. Based on the DNA evidence, we consider the individual in the video we obtained from the Los Angeles Police Department and that we are about to show you on our TV screens to be the person that murdered Rachel Morin on August 5th.
DNA. Isn't it amazing? We actually have someone's genetic identification, deoxyribonucleic acid. It's a genetic fingerprint, but we don't have the perp. We don't know his name. We know everything about him because of his DNA, but we don't have him. And why do we think he is Rachel's killer? What more do we know? Listen.
Based on our analysis of this video and witness observations, we believe the suspect to be approximately 5'9", 160 pounds, and of Hispanic descent. If you have any information about this suspect, we are asking you to please call our detectives at our tip line. And the tip line number is 410-836-7788. And we've also established a dedicated tip email address, and that email address is rmtips@harfordsheriff.org. Again, that's RM as in Rachel Morin, tips@harfordsheriff.org.
Okay, so I realized that they said this, but I didn't bring it up earlier, and now I'm realizing it. But if this was not an assault on this girl, there's no, I mean, would you, like, okay, let's say you're 15, 16, 17, and you have a boyfriend, and you guys get caught or whatever, and you say he did that, like he did this. Why would you tell on your boyfriend? First off, because you know that's going to send him to jail. Second off, why add on a home invasion? Why add on he broke in and this was a home invasion? You know, I just feel like with it being them considering this, classing this a home invasion, this is like big. This isn't just like I feel like if it was, it would be considered like burglary. If it was, would it even be considered home invasion? It would be like burglary. I think it has to meet a criteria, like a certain criteria to be considered home invasion. I'm gonna look into that. But yeah, I'm just like, yeah. But I'm just like, I'm just trying to like make you guys like kind of like realize and see, because I don't think that this girl did this on purpose.
It's killing me to know that we know so much about the man believed to have murdered this beautiful young mom of 5, but he's connected to a home invasion assault in LA, over 2,000 miles away. Joining me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we know right now. But first, take a listen to our cut 76 from the Harford Sheriff's Office.
We collected DNA from our crime scene. The Maryland State Police analyzed that DNA for us, ran it through the National CODIS system, and that came back as a match to the crime that occurred in Los Angeles, where they had recovered DNA from this person that you saw in the video.
The video that we watched, tell us about it. I mean, what Los Angeles Police released it to you, but what is it? Is that at his home? Is it at a scene of a crime?
That is at a home, and that is the suspect leaving the scene of the crime there.
And that was a home invasion and assault, you said, right?
Correct.
Of a little girl, is that what you
A
said?
young girl. So I'm going to leave it at a young girl. I don't want to talk about the family there, but it was a young girl in the house that got assaulted.
We know so much. He's within our grasp, but we don't have a name. And also, interesting, we don't have a face. Again, I'm Nancy Grace, and this is Crime Stories. Thanks for being with us, with me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we know right now. Joining us right now, Sheriff Jeffery Gahler, Sheriff of the Harford County Sheriff's Office, and you can find him at harfordsheriff.org. Sheriff, thank you so much for being with us. I'm going to get to the who, what, where, why, when, but does it just drive you crazy? You know so much about this guy. You know his origin. You know his height. You know all about him, his very DNA. But you don't know who he is. You can't put out an APB on, Charles Manson. You can't do it. You don't have a name. Is that driving you crazy?
It's what our detectives are working so hard on. It's what's driving our community crazy. It is frustrating, but the reason we appreciate the opportunity to be on any media is because someone out there does know that person's name. Someone's going to look at that video. Someone's going to look at the still shots from the video. And I'm as frustrated as everybody else. I read the comments on social media. Where's the other side of his face? If we had it, we would put it out there. We just haven't obtained it yet. Hopefully there's some additional video footage that will come our way. But off of what's there, off of his build, off of his walk, off of his appearance, there's someone out there in the world who knows exactly who that person is. And we need that person to tell us so that we can get a match on the DNA and put this monster behind bars.
This is reminiscent of a case now famous, or should I say infamous, the disappearance of Jennifer Kessie, a beautiful young girl when her parents got to her condo.
Do you remember the Jennifer Kessie story? If you guys remember that, let me know in the chat. But they have this guy on video, this person on video, but they are literally, the second it's caught on video, the person is in between the two planks of the rod, and you can't get them. It's just insane to me. BK does have burglary charges. Yeah. So Mindy, yeah, because BK, so breaking or burglary is when you break into a dwelling to commit a felony, whether that is R-wording someone, unaliving someone, going in to steal something would be like breaking and entering. And that would be, theft. But burglary is more for if you're going to go in there, you're already in the commission of committing another felony. Just another way for them to say that. So
She didn't show up for work. They see that she's just gotten out of the shower. It's still damp. The towels are damp. Her clothes for the day are laid out. She liked to lay her clothes out on the bed before she went to work. But no Jennifer. An exhaustive search has ensued since Jennifer went missing, and a video emerges. Yes, a video of an unknown male walking directly along in front of her condo, but no face. Take a listen to our Cut 8A, our friends from CBS.
The person could not be identified because the surveillance video captured a photo every 3 seconds, and each time the figure's face was obstructed by a fence post. In 2017, the Kessies recruited private investigator Michael Toretta to help them conduct their own investigation. Toretta learned from speaking with people who lived in Jennifer's complex that construction workers were living in an empty apartment just across from Jennifer.
All this evidence, even a video, but just at the right moment, the camera panned and didn't get the face. Joining me, in addition to special guest Sheriff Jeffery Gahler, Vincent Hill, investigative reporter, Fox 45 Baltimore, interesting, former police officer and PI, author of Playbook to a Murder. Tell me all about everything you know about getting the DNA and about this video that has emerged out of LA.
Well, Nancy, first I can say when we were watching the presser in the newsroom, it was a WTF moment, if you will. A guy from LA or wherever he's from, his DNA found at Rachel's crime scene. Total shock. And of course, our viewers want to know, well, why do we not know this guy's name? Because we have his DNA. But a lot of people don't understand, if he's never been arrested before, you're not going to have his name, even though his DNA may be in CODIS. He may be walking out doing other crimes, and no one knows who he is.
Vincent, hold on. I got to follow up on what you're saying. Don't lose your thought. Sheriff Gahler, please jump in whenever you have a thought. With me, Jessica Garth, Chief of the Special Victims Family Violence Unit, Prince George County, veteran trial lawyer. Jessica, you hear people, and I'm afraid that includes jurors, that say, well, you got a fingerprint. Can't you match it up? You can get a perfectly beautiful, perfect, pristine, latent print. In other words, the one found at the scene, the latent print. But unless you have something to compare it to, you can't get a name. Here's a good example, like DNA in Coburger. There's 3 unknown male DNA profiles found in and around the home where the 4 students were slain. But they've tried and tried. You got to have something to match it to in order to present that to a jury. If the perp has never been arrested, is not in the system, hasn't had to give a fingerprint for any reason, there's nothing to compare it to. So yes, we've got this guy's DNA that we think murdered Rachel Morin, leaving her 5 children without a mother. They've been split up and gone to different homes, but we can't get the guy. Explain.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, we kind of refer to it as the CSI effect when we're trying cases that jurors expect that we're going to have, all kinds of DNA evidence, fingerprint evidence, and that there will be an immediate match that's going to pop up on the screen, and it's going to tell us, who committed the crime. But you're exactly right. You have to have a suspect to compare it to. So what our DNA analysts do is they develop what's called a profile, and I'll leave it to the doctors to explain that a little bit more. But we take that profile and we compare it to the known profile of a suspect. And when those 2 profiles match, our experts give us a statistic of a degree of certainty that it is the same person who left this DNA. And then as lawyers, it's our job to explain to the jury that, this statistic means that this is the person who left this DNA on the scene. But if you don't have that person to compare it to, then you just, your investigators are just trying to track down who they can draw that profile from.
Back to you, Vincent Hill, reporter, Fox 45 Baltimore. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of viewers are trying to track down, why do we not know this guy's name? I mean, I've seen the comments all over our Facebook, our social media. And again, if he hasn't been arrested, it's like I told my new.
The more I'm looking at this picture, he don't look muscular to me. Does he look muscular to you guys? Maybe he is. But he just looks, he just looks average to me. But they keep referring to him as like muscular build, but like his arm is like, you can't see any definition in his arm. Maybe I'm just being picky, but I don't know. Hey, Aurora, welcome on in. Oh, can I see your dog? Oh my Lord, is that your dog? Oh my gosh, if it is, it's beautiful. I want a white pit bull. I just said that the other day, actually, to Vincent.
Newsroom. If he hasn't been arrested, this guy is free to walk around until he does something even more drastic, more horrific, and he's actually caught. But to go back to something else, we only have a side profile in the back of his head. I can tell you for a fact that my mother, even at 50 years old, could spot my head from a crowd. So someone knows who this guy is just by that quick picture of him walking out of this house in Los Angeles.
And Nancy, Sheriff, I agree with Vincent 100%. That's what I said, and I think it's going to be, opportunities like this to reach a large audience, to have people go to our social media page.
Whoops, I didn't mean to do that, but I guess I did. I guess it happened at an appropriate time. So if you don't like that, I pause it, because you pause for commentary. That's what you do here on YouTube. You can go to Fox Nation and you can sign up. They may have a free trial. I don't know. But if not, it's like a monthly payment. You can pay it. And then you can watch Nancy all you want. No interruptions. Not one.
Very quick that this is going to be solved through science and technology. And the science part has narrowed us down to this individual. And I wish the technology had given us a better picture. We're still out there scouring, and hopefully we can come up with one. But this is what we have for now. But I agree with Vincent 100%. Somebody looks at that picture and they know exactly who this person is.
Hey, guys, Dr. Bethany Marshall, of course, I agree with Sheriff Gahler. That pretty much goes, unsaid. And we know I'm going to agree with him. Vincent Hill, I agree with you partially. Yes, your mother may be able to pick your head out of a crowd. I could pick out my children. I could pick out my husband. But what mom is going to turn in their child? And what mom, who is going to ID some guy's head? Well, you know what? Let me throw this to a shrink. All right. Dr. Bethany Marshall is joining us, a psychoanalyst out of Beverly Hills at drbethanymarshall.com. Dr. Bethany, bottom line, if you can identify somebody's head, you're not turning them in. You know why? Because you're close to them. It's got to be a mother or a sister. Not going to turn them in unless they've got unless they're like a cone head, the very odd shaped head that coworkers can identify. But if
it's so true, Nancy. This family, well, first of all, this perp probably went straight to mommy's house after the commission of the crime, because that's what they always do.
I don't know about that, because this is in, typically, yes, they go run to mommy's. Isn't that true, Sheriff Jeffrey Gahler? When a guy BS, bond forfeiture, doesn't show up to court, I always say, go to mommy's house and look under the bed and look in her closet. She took him in. That's where he is. They always go to the auntie, the grandma, the mommy. That's typically true.
I would just say I agree with you. Be it a mom or be it family, people, when they're in trouble, that's where they turn to, and that's who they trust will hide. But this person should not be hidden. This person is a threat to every single person on the planet until we figure out where they are. I'll say on the planet, because wherever he is, whether he's still here in our community or he's moved to next surrounding state or he's came back to LA, he poses a threat. Anybody that would commit these kind of crimes in both the LA and our homicide here, he poses a threat to anyone who's around, family member or not, and he needs to be taken off the street.
You know what? You left out a big swath of area between LA and Bel Air, Maryland, not Bel Air, California.
Oh, absolutely. You're 100% right. And
all in between. Now, how the hey does he get? That's what we counted up, Jackie. What was it? 2,600 miles?
Yes.
2,669 miles from Maryland to LA. How the hey did he get that far? And I'm looking at his picture. Guys, I assume everybody has looked at the stills or the video. Let's talk about what we see in this picture. Number one, do you see the hairstyle? I guarantee you he's either got still that hairstyle or something similar, where part of his head is shaved from like the neck up, and then he's got like a fake mullet going down the back. There's going to be some type of a unique hairstyle. Mark my words, okay? He looks to me between, I'm going to go with 19 to 29. Do you agree with that or disagree, Sheriff Gahler?
Yeah, we put it at 20 to 30, so right in that same ballpark. But the haircut's very distinctive. It's been the number one source of the tips that we've received. And I would ask, anybody hearing this, and if they have a tip, you said the numbers earlier, but we have a special email box, RM Tips, Rachel Morin Tips, rmtips@harfordsheriff.org, to let us know. But that hairstyle is certainly distinct. And I think if you look at his walk, his how he carries himself, he's a muscular young man, and 5'9", 160 pounds. Again, somebody has seen him. Somebody has maybe been at the gym with him or working a job with him. Somebody knows who he is on that picture.
I just realized something. They keep saying and they put this on the flyer. He's 160 pounds. How do they know how much he weighs? Like, don't you think it'd be like an average? Like, is there a scale at the front door before you come in? You step on the scale, you ring the doorbell, like, because that's really like that's a weird number. Like, you would think they would say between the height of like 5'9", 5'10", 150 to 170. So maybe he does have something. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, Cheryl, I almost weigh as much as him too. But yeah, 160, 5'9". Okay. I hope they show the tape again. I want to see him again.
No tattoos, right?
And Nancy, not only that, but he's a menacing figure. And even though the family may circle the wagons, just like, remember Brian Landry's family?
Oh, yeah.
They knew possibly that he had murdered Gabby Petito. But did they turn him in? Did they assist Gabby Petito's family? No. They circled the right wagons and they protected their own son. But with this perp, because he's menacing, because he's a creeper, I'm sure that there's women he's dated, people he went to high school with, people he works with, who knows that there's something off or wrong about these guys, right? Even like with Brian Koberger, all these people are coming forward now saying that he was dominating other women, that he was a scary figure, that he was a bully. So there are plenty of people. I don't think we have to rely on the family to come forward, because there are people in his circle,
I hope you're right,
who know something's wrong with him.
Hey guys, I want to find out, Vincent Hill, can you tell me what is he accused of doing in LA specifically?
Well, Nancy, and I may get the sheriff to correct me on this, but I believe there was some type of home invasion and assault of a young female inside that home in Los Angeles back in March of this year. But I defer to the sheriff on that, but I believe that's the information we received from the Los Angeles Police
Let's
Department.
take a look at the video. He's opening up the door of the home of the victim. I think that he raped. He's leaving. He doesn't even have his shirt on. Man, could you at least get dressed before you leave? It's in a residential neighborhood. It's in the evening. Don't know what time. It's a female victim. The MO is different because here he's gone into the home and he has, I believe, raped a female victim. We're hearing assault, but we know that there's DNA, and that makes me think that it's sperm. Was it a rape, Sheriff Gahler?
I'm not going to, because that's still part of the active investigation. Other than what we've released, which you're spot on, a home invasion with an assault, we're not covering. I'm not at liberty to go into any other details, but certainly, his actions there are similar, to some of the MO that we have here. I'll just leave
exactly.
It at that.
Okay, and I, of course, do not want to in any way impede the investigation or harm the integrity of the investigation. So when you finally, God willing, get to trial, you can be accused of spouting out information that's privy to the case. But
Well, we want to give our investigators every opportunity to, to keep it to what needs to be kept out of the public for right now. But while we still share what we can to help us bring this person into custody. And again, you touched on the thing about traveling. We don't know whether he lives there and was just visiting out here, or whether he was visiting out there when he committed that crime in March and lives out here, or any combination thereof. He could live in Ohio and just have visited both places to commit these acts. So until we know who he is, we don't know what part of the country he is hanging his hat.
No, Sheriff, I don't think he visited one of the two places just to commit the act. I think he's a predator. He happened to be in LA for whatever reason. I don't think he went there just to assault. I'll say assault because we don't know if it was a rape or a sodomy. We don't know if it was touch DNA somewhere in the home. But we know there was a home invasion and there was an assault on a female victim in LA, and that there's DNA. We know that in Bel Air, Maryland, it's a completely different scenario, different MO, modus operandi, method of operation. He's out on a hiking trail. He sees a lone female, and I'm assuming the female in LA was alone. Don't know her age. But he sees a female alone, and he pounces. And he, I believe, raped Rachel Morin and murdered her. I know you're not going to tell me whether she was raped or not, but we're getting DNA from somewhere. Plus, we know that she was naked and lying on her back, or so we've been told. So, straight to Dr. Monty Miller, Director, Forensic DNA Experts, LLC, Specialist in Sex Assaults and Murder. Now, this is where he gets a lot of his training. Former forensic scientist for the Texas Department of Public Safety Crime Lab. Can I tell you how many thousands of DNA comparisons you do if you're at the crime lab? You can find them at forensicdnaexperts.com. Dr. Monty Miller, thank you for being with us. You're hearing the facts as I am. Tell me what you think happened in LA and what you think happened in Maryland.
Well, I think that, first of all, I'd like to commend the police departments, both of them, for doing the DNA and getting it out quickly.
Amen, brother. You're so right about that. Go ahead.
We have so many cases that sit there for a while and they're not able to identify the person quickly when the second crime happens because the first lab hasn't finished. So, yeah, I mean, the crime labs did a good job.
You just gave me a horrible feeling. Remember Eliza Fletcher, the Memphis mom that was out jogging, 4 a.m.? I think she had 2 children at home doing it all. And this perv grabs her, I believe rapes her, murders her. And he had actually committed another rape, but the DNA kit had been sitting on a shelf for like a year. And if he had been apprehended in that rape, Eliza Fletcher would be alive today. But still,
well, yeah, and that's exactly what they did great in this case. You know, they did the DNA, and so somebody didn't go at least unnoticed for a second crime across the country. So, but he has left his DNA, so that, you know, there's a good indication that there was some DNA that they knew came from him inside that house. And that, you know, oftentimes comes from a sexual assault because, you know, they have DNA that from sperm and they, that way they know that it's the perpetrator and not somebody else who visited that house. Whatever it is, they're confident that they got his DNA from that house. It doesn't look like he's leaving in a hurry or that he's bloody or that he's injured. So, it could have been touch DNA, but, you know, there's a good chance that was a sexual assault. And the same thing with, you know, the murder victim, Rachel Morin. You know, they might have gotten DNA off of the rock that was found that he used to hit her, but that might have blood and other things on it. So a sexual assault is oftentimes the best case to get a really good DNA profile because you know it came from the person who had sexual intercourse with the other person. So, you know, I think there's a good chance they're both sexual assaults if one of them is. You're hearing the voice of Dr. Monty Miller, director at forensicdnaexperts.com. Who was that jumping in?
It was me, Sheriff. I was just going to say, you know, I hear, you know, a lot of speculation. I just wish I was in more of a position to be able to speak freely. But I just, you know, I've heard how the scene looks and this and that. I just want to be clear that we haven't released any of those investigative details, and we know some of the information out there is accurate. We know some of it is not accurate, and I wish I could clarify which is which, but you're 100% right. I mean, but DNA can be left in many different ways, and I am thankful that it was, again, I'd rather have this guy's name and face straight on, but I'm thankful that LA detectives out there took that case seriously. They did a good investigation, which included the collection of DNA at the scene and has put back a tie. So much of policing used to be just cops and robbers, but now without our civilian forensic experts and the people, the science part of this thing, we'd be nowhere in this investigation, and that is important to note. But again, I hate to be the guest who kind of has the facts in his head, but is not free to share them. But that's unfortunately where I find myself as I listen to the other callers.
You know what's interesting? I'm taking from what you said, I'm interpreting that we got one of those facts wrong. Maybe it's the rock. Maybe she wasn't naked. Maybe she wasn't on her back. Maybe there wasn't a rape. We got something wrong, but we got something right. But since the sheriff, Jeffrey Gahler, refuses to play 21 questions with me, I'm going to go forward with what I do know. And you know what this is reminding me of, Jackie? Let's take a listen to our cut 77.
I think now it kind of leads us down the path that we believe this was a person that Rachel probably didn't know. Maybe you could say potentially a random act of violence. And we're hoping that the community now can watch that video. And we also got still pictures that we're going to be putting out, and that somebody can identify him. We don't have any clue where he could be. We don't even know if he's still in Harford County or in the state of Maryland, because obviously in March he was in California, and then here in August he was here in Maryland. So we don't know if he's still here or not.
This is eerily reminiscent, for various reasons, of the Delphi murders of little Libby and Abby. And I'll tell you why. Take a listen to our cut 9A, our friends at People magazine.
Police have announced that a widely circulated photo of the main suspect in a double homicide of 2 Indiana teenagers was taken by one of the victims before she was killed. On February 14th, the bodies of Liberty German and Abigail Williams were found one day after they were reported missing. At a press conference on Wednesday, police announced that Liberty not only took the photo of the male suspect, but she also recorded a video moments before her death that includes audio of a man talking, although officials are unsure whether the voice belongs to the suspect.
You will recall with Abby and Libby, the 2 little girls murdered off the Trestle Bridge in Delphi, that there was wild speculation that there was a transient, someone that had come from out of town. We argued against that at the get-go because it's highly unlikely a transient would have known about that Trestle Bridge, kind of tucked away out in the middle of nowhere. It didn't make sense. Now we're trying to figure out, does this guy caught on surveillance video on a Ring camera, a doorbell cam in LA, does he live in Bel Air, Maryland now? Is he a transient? If he is a transient, how did he know about this hiking trail? Now, isn't it true, Sheriff Gahler, that the hiking trail butts up against apartments?
Yes, the Mom and Pa hiking trail is actually working on a new section of it that's going to connect it and make it around I think it's about 8 miles long total when it's finished. So there's a north section and a south section. This actually happened on the south section, which is closer to the town of Bel Air. The county seat, very, very, very safe. In fact, I can't even remember when the last homicide in the town of Bel Air was. But it runs right behind the mall area, the big shopping area for the town. It runs from where she had parked her car, where Rachel had parked her car, is right behind one of the local breweries. Always a lot of people there, a bunch of condos, and then goes down behind the mall and stuff, and then finishes at the big fields where we actually have our county fair every year. It's a very, very popular, well-used, improved trail from an old railroad system, the Mom and Pa Railroad, that just gets a lot of activity. And to have something out there happen is just, to have any crime out there happen is just so far outside the norm, much less something so horrific as Rachel's homicide.
Sheriff, are you gathering video surveillance from the brewery and anyone else in those apartments and homes that look onto the trail or onto the trailhead?
Yeah, we have collected, investigators have collected all the video. Unfortunately, there is not video on the trail. It's actually the part of the trail. The trail is part of the Harford County Parks and Recs system. They have announced, the Parks and Recs have announced that they're going to put cameras along the trail now, which would be great, but unfortunately we didn't have them before. But we've also done solicitations out in the public, social media, and through our robocall system, asking people, for video footage around the time that Rachel went missing and up to where she was discovered. Because we're hopeful as we pour through all this, investigators pour through all this video footage and stuff that we have been able to gather, that we'll get a better picture of this individual, of this suspect, and perhaps a vehicle or something like that. But, we do not have that at this moment.
It's reminiscent of another case that I worked with the victims' families. The family of Jeffery Ewan, beautiful mom, who would ride about a 50-mile bike trail multiple times a week. She was about 30-ish miles in on the Silver Comet Trail when she was attacked and murdered by Michael Ledford. Surrounding the trail, there were a number of vantage points where you could see onto the trail, including apartments. And this guy, Ledford, had been scaring women and exposing himself and staring at them, surveilling them many times before Jennifer was murdered. So let me go to you, Dr. Bethany Marshall. I'm going to talk about why this trail. Was he living in those apartments? Was he living on the trail as a transient in the woods? Because I know for a fact that a group of law enforcement, LE, were out in the woods, many feet off the trail, huddled together looking at something. Did they find evidence someone had been living out there, tenting? Eric Rudolph, who was the Olympic bomber in Atlanta, then he bombed 2 abortion clinics. And by the way, the shrapnel hit my investigator. It was time, so one would go off, and then the next one would go off as soon as people came to investigate the first one. I mean, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know why he's in Bel Air, Maryland. Does he live there? Is he visiting? It's hard to believe. Is he a transient all the way from LA? But let's think about the MO. And another thing, Dr. Bethany Marshall, I had a gut feeling at the get-go. I didn't go after the boyfriend. There was just something about the fact that he had her children. They were out looking for her. He called 911. It just didn't feel right, even though statistically it's the love object, but not in this case. So I'm glad we didn't put the nail in his coffin, right?
That's right. Nancy, there's something about the brutality of the crime that tells me that sexual excitement and inflicting harm were a part of the MO. And in terms of why this trail, why near an apartment building, why near a brewery, and everything you're describing, I have a theory that he is a serial killer in the making. Yeah, maybe he's already a serial killer and there are multiple victims, in the pathway between the 2 crimes. But if he's a serial killer in the making, his choice of the Mom Pa Trail is going to be influenced by the victim profile, like who he's fishing for. Who is he on the hunt for? He's on the hunt for young women. If the first victim was a very young girl, he could be a pedophile, that would be a part of his multiple perversions. And also that women who are vulnerable, women who are separated from family members or loved ones.
I think you said on their phone. Did you say on their phone?
On their own. On their own.
And I think that Rachel may have had earbuds in. I don't know that yet, but we believe that may have happened. Go ahead.
Unsuspecting victims. Well, unsuspecting victims, right? And also this guy is pretty brave. I mean, the fact that he accosted a girl as a part of a home invasion tells me that he's desperate. He's desperate to kill. He's desperate to to inflict cruelty while sexually accosting a victim. And this desperation may have driven him to the Ma and Pa Trail, where it's very secluded. There are places where he could hide, and there are easy weapons. He bashed her face in with a rock. So he didn't have to go and buy a gun. He didn't have to go get a knife. He didn't have to do anything like that. He didn't have to put a big effort into it. All he had to do was hide along the trail and wait for Rachel Morin to come by. So that to me speaks of a certain type of desperation.
What if he wasn't waiting in the woods? Like, what if he wasn't on the trail, but what if he was in, like, I'm just going to pull this up really quick. Like, this is the parking lot for the Ma and Pa Trail. So right here, her car would have been parked in one of these parking lots. Let's say she parked in one of these facing towards like these apartments. I mean, I don't know if you guys, when you get somewhere, like if you sit on your phone for a minute, but when I get anywhere that I'm going, because I don't like to, use my phone while driving, I always check my phone before I get out of the car. And sometimes I can get lost on my phone for a minute. You know what I mean? Like for a good, maybe like 10 minutes, 15, if I'm like, if I'm like scrolling on YouTube Shorts or something, you're just like scrolling. So what if she was doing that in the parking lot or getting her stuff together? He sees her from the apartment and she's just in her car for a few minutes. So that gives him time to kind of get down the stairs, and then he follows her onto the trail. And then she might not think anything of it. She got her headphones in. And he just follows her. And then when he sees that there's nobody around, that's when he like attacks her. And then he takes her into the woods or into the tunnel. I don't know. It's just a thought. But I'll put it back on to Nancy.
Nancy, if I can, I did want to say that, we haven't released anything other than saying it was a violent attack. As far as the specifics of how Rachel's life was taken. But you talked, the trail is very popular, goes by a lot of different condos, buildings, couple of housing areas. I don't know, I've said on some of the interviews I've done, my backyard actually hits a portion of the Ma and Pa Trail. So we've always considered it a very safe place. But again, it has very secluded areas along it. So, it's a place that they could hide. But this individual, I can tell you, although I won't go into the specifics about how her life was taken, other than the general saying it was very violent, this guy has an absolute disregard for human life. And I think he demonstrated that in what I know of LA and obviously in the homicide here. So talk about, is he a serial killer or is he becoming one? He certainly has no care in the world for the value of a human life.
Dr.
Nancy,
Tim,
let me caveat off the sheriff.
Is it that he has no care, or that taking a life is a part of his offending pattern?
guys, joining me right now is a very well-known medical examiner joining us out of the state of Florida, Dr. Tim Gahler. I wanted him to hear the analysis before he weighs in. Lecturer, University of Florida Medical School, Forensic Medicine, and the founder of the International Forensic Medicine Death Investigation Conference. He founded that, a true expert in his field. Dr. Gahler, thank you for being with us. Dr. Gahler, the sheriff is neither confirming nor denying that Rachel Morin was bludgeoned. We have also heard reports, not from him, that she was naked. A naked lady lying out on a trail tells me she was sex assaulted. I'm curious how often you see bludgeoning cases. Now, I'm not saying that's her COD, cause of death, which I want to also ask you, even if she was bludgeoned, would you still be able to determine if she was, for instance, asphyxiated? Just because she's been hit in the head with the rock, if she was. Now, that's based on alleged eyewitness accounts. But the bludgeoning, I find that peculiar. And I wonder if the female victim in LA was beaten about the face. We don't know that. They seem very much opportunistic. But what do you make of the bludgeoning? And can you get a different cause of death, Dr. Gahler?
Good points, Nancy. Typically, the bludgeoning would be if the offender needs the victim to become unresponsive very quickly. You know, if a strangulation can take about 3 or 4 minutes to complete, and to be on this popular trail for 3 or 4 minutes strangling somebody, you know, you would definitely get a lot of attention. But the bludgeoning, and I'm going to assume here possible skull fractures or an injury that would incapacitate the person instantaneously, would be more advantageous, you know, to his MO, to sexually offending on the victim, you know, and then leaving very quickly before other people can come by and identify the scene. So when we do the autopsy, these are things that we look for. We look for the skull fractures, the brain injuries, the internal bleeding that is representative of the blunt force trauma. We also have to look at the neck area, which is the most common area for strangulation, and look at the muscles, look at the windpipe, look at the blood vessels that are in there, and see if they have linear patterns of hemorrhage or linear patterns of damage on them, which would be representative of a strangulation. But we need to keep in mind that strangulation does take 3, possibly 4 minutes to complete, and it certainly would expose them for a long time on the trail. So bludgeoning would render the person unconscious instantaneously, and then the offender would be able to enact his MO.
Wow.
Well, Nancy,
That was a lot of information. Is this Sheriff Gahler?
No, this is Vince. So
Go ahead, Vincent.
Saturday, I had the opportunity to walk that trail. They had a 5K in honor of Rachel. I actually walked with her sister, Rebecca. It was part of my story for the day, but as the ex-cop and private investigator, there were parts of the trail where I was literally thinking, wow, he could have lied in wait right here. It's very secluded. Could have done what he had to do. He actually could have taken 3 or 4 minutes to do whatever he had to do with Rachel, because there were parts of that trail, Nancy, during that 5K where I was just thinking, man, he could have come from here. It backs up to a road at certain parts. He could have parked the car. It goes by a farmer's market. He could have parked across the street. I mean, it's very secluded over in that area. So there are plenty of opportunities for him to have done something there. But I want to go back to something you said earlier, Nancy, about Delphi and the guy likely not knowing the trail. I'll be honest, I've been living in the Baltimore area for almost a year. I had never heard of the Ma and Pa Trail until 2 weeks ago when Rachel went missing and her body was found. So the investigator in me tells me this guy knew about this trail, because when I think of Los Angeles, and don't get offended by this, Sheriff Gahler, when I think of Los Angeles and I think of Maryland, I don't think Harford County. Most people think Baltimore, Annapolis, Aberdeen. So that tells me this guy may have known the area and known where that trail was.
Hey, Sheriff.
So I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, Vince. This is not, we're a quiet, community about 30 minutes north of Baltimore, and not known for low crime and a safe community. So yeah, it's not generally where we have stuff like this, but not generally. If you're going around the country, you kind of have to explain where it is in relation to Baltimore, because people just don't know where we're located.
You know what's interesting, Sheriff Gahler, and everybody jump in. Jessica, Garth, this is right up your alley. In the LA case, where we believe the killer's DNA, I'm looking at the video over and over and over. Somebody follows him to the door, and they shut the door behind him. I'm not sure who that is, but it looks like a female hand shutting the door behind him. That victim lived. This victim did not. I'm curious about the differences in the attacks, the method of operation, Sheriff Gahler. What do you make of it?
No, again, it's something that a lot of people have brought to our attention that, we know is there. We know that, there's an arm there, that somebody closes the door behind the suspect leaving. And again, it's not what you would expect, not what a seasoned police officer would expect someone leaving the scene of a crime, the home invasion and an assault, to be casually walking out with his clothes tucked under his arm, and the door being shut behind him. But our investigators continue to work the case hard to try to make sense of what doesn't make sense by appearances, and hopefully, the investigation will explain all of those things out in time. But the main thing that's needed at this point is figuring out who this guy is.
Is that victim a minor?
Nancy?
Was she a minor at the time of the attack, Sheriff, in LA?
Yes. Yes.
So, think about that. Attacking a minor, I could easily see a minor not really knowing what to do after a rape or a sex assault or an ag assault, and walking to the door and shutting it in complete astoundment and confusion. What about it, Jessica Garth? There's a big difference in a grown lady like Rachel Morin, who's 37, and a minor girl that's attacked.
100% agree. I mean, when I saw that video and I saw that he had been essentially walked out of the house, a few things occurred to me. And of course, it's speculation. But number one, if this is a minor victim, which I am assuming since her name hasn't been released, then, and it was in her own home, I mean, where is she going to run to for safety? She's in the safest place that she knows. So I think at some point, it's just a matter of staying alive in that situation. If this is a grown man in her home, she's not going to fight back. She's not going to create a fuss. She's going to get out of the situation as safely as she can. So, if he is making moves to leave the home, or if she said something like, oh, my parents are going to come home, you have to get out of here, and he's leaving, she's just going to let him leave, and she's going to close that door and I'm sure lock it immediately behind him. And the second thing I thought was that even if it were a grown woman, playing along or going along with somebody who's assaulting you is one method to survive a violent attack like this.
You're right. Rachel Morin may have fought back, and this young girl didn't or couldn't. Dr. Bethany, were you jumping in?
I was basically saying the same thing. I mean, it's the same MO as a date rape, where the victim imagines, that she is responsible for having been raped because she knows the perpetrator. There's a lot of confusion with the victims of sex crimes. They often don't know they're in danger. They often don't know that they didn't consent. If this was a little girl, let's say a 12, 13, 14-year-old, she may have been dissociated and just...
Dr. Monty Miller joining us from Forensic DNA Experts. What's your analysis of what we know right now?
Well, I think that, we have the guy's DNA, and so we're going to be able to identify the guy at some point. Like other people have mentioned, he's probably going to turn out to be a serial killer or something similar, or certainly has no problem killing people and raping people and having, any kind of issues. So the guy's going to continue to do these things. We're going to continue to find his DNA until we find out who he is, until we identify him and put him in jail.
I'm curious to find out if his DNA pops up anywhere else in the country or just along this stretch. Guys, the tip line is toll free, 888-540-8477. Repeat, 1-888-540-8477. We want justice not only for Mama 5, Rachel Morin, but for her children that have now been split up. Their family has been broken apart forever. Goodbye, friend.
I'm trying to do too many things at once. Got my mic muted, trying to get the video off, and I was looking into the yonder there for a minute. I always go the wrong shoulder, but there's Nancy. I like this Nancy right here because she's just cool and she just smiles at me. She's always got my back. I like that. So let me see what the chat was saying. Oh, wow. So, I heard that there was actually even another, there was like a bomb that was called in somewhere, like in Bel Air as well. So that's a lot of different crimes happening in that little area. Oh. Where is Rachel's phone and clothes? I'm assuming probably with just the officers. They probably have all of her belongings. I would assume she would have had her phone on her if she was on the trail. Normally, people go on a trail and they wear their headphones and they They do. And they listen to their headphones and they jog around on the trail, you know. But I know I would probably have headphones in. I wouldn't think. I mean, a small town like that, there's 11,000 people that live in this little community. I'm from a town that's like 22,000, and we have a walking trail similar to this one, and I could see me being on that trail with headphones in, not thinking anything of it, you know. It's just it's sad. How did Nancy move? Diana, I moved her. She moved on her own. She's got legs. She does it. Thank God for DNA. I know, Bob, right? That's what's going to be probably key to this case. But the only problem is they don't have a suspect. And until he kind of does something again and gets caught for it, you know, or they do some genealogy stuff, then we're not going to, you know, it's going to be kind of hard. She is magic, Nancy. This Nancy is very magic, but so are you, Nancy. So I actually have one set of earphones or AirPods that only have one AirPod in them. So maybe I should take those with me when I go places. I have 3 sets. It's so bad. You guys remember I lost a pair and then I found them, and then I have 3 pairs now. So there's a lot. I have a couple other little things I was going to share with you guys as well. Let me see here. Okie dokie. It was this here. Let me bring it up. I'm just going to share like my Canva with you guys, because like I had it in presentation mode, but then I can't like edit it if we wanted to edit it to if you guys can think of anything else. I have a bunch of stuff up here for Brian Kohlberger for tomorrow. Just trying to find what I'm looking for. There it is. Okay, so the suspect's unknown. I don't know why it's doing that, but okay, there we go. I just have victim 1, minor from LA. This is really small. How are you guys going to read that? Let me see if I can make this bigger. I didn't even notice that was really that small and I have 1 eye, guys. I was going to do this to you. That's so bad. That's like so small, but I think I made it small. So if we needed to put more in, let me go ahead and this isn't a lot. Oops. You're probably like, what does that even say? I can't read that shit, Tanya. Sorry about that. That's a little better for us to look at it. I could put me here. Okay. So the suspect, as of right now, unknown. And so I have differences in the 2 crimes on this page here. Victim 1 is a minor from LA, and then we have Rachel Morin on the other side. Victim 1, she was a minor. She was in her home. She wasn't killed, and she was left unharmed overall. You know, physically, probably not, you know, but you know what I mean? Like she's overall okay. Because we see her at the door. She's standing and everything. So then we have Rachel Morin over here. She was an adult. She was outside. People could have been around to hear. And she was also killed. So those are the differences that I've kind of found. If you guys can think of any more differences, drop them in the chat or drop them in the comments if you're watching on a replay, and I'll add them in to the list. Because I think it'd be like a good, you know, kind of a good list to have just for overall in the case, because we're just going to keep continuing to, you know, follow this case. And when they finally do get a suspect, hopefully we don't have more people coming down off of these, whatever they're called, you know, my little graphs. I'm sure there's a name for these little lines here, but I don't know what they're called. So then I have similarities between the 2. There's not a lot, but that I know of. And the 2 that I thought of were both were alone, and the killer left DNA at both crime scenes. But other than that, I don't know, because I don't know what the other girl looks like. You know, I don't know. We don't know a whole lot about victim. We don't know anything about victim 1, other than we found out today was the first time I had heard from the sheriff that he said that she was a minor. So. You have a feeling he followed her? Yeah. Yeah, let's get to 200 likes. We should do that. We could do that. I liked it. I liked the video. It's free to do too. It's so much fun. It's free. I love that. I don't think he's going to, Arlene. I don't think BK is going to give up his speedy. I think they might use those 37 days. You think he will, though? I don't think he will. He has some time to do it anyway if he wants to do it. I think September 8th or the 1st. I can't remember. I read the documents earlier today, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. So let me go ahead and go to the next. I was going to show you this new video that just came out about Rachel before we end the live. And I want to thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate you guys and for looking at my little charts that I do because I like doing them for you. Now, next on my list, the next big, huge thing that I'm going to do for the channel, and this is going to take some time. Like, this is going to take a lot of time. Probably, like, maybe the beginning of next year if Vincent takes off his normal end of the year vacation. I want to start learning how to do, like, 3D animations. Really, really bad. Really bad. I don't even care if they're, like, janky, but as long as they, like, kind of look like what we're looking for, I want to be able to do them because I like to visually see things. I'm better at that. And I was watching Asget's video. Like, she's the one that did all of the Idaho and the Murdoch, like, visuals, like the 3D animations. And I was watching her newest one and it was so good. It was about the Parkland shooting. I didn't even get into that case and she made me want to get into it. Just from her, like, her 3D animation. I saw it last night. I was like, girl, you're so good. I need her to teach me. How long did it take him to go cross country? So it took, I'll show you here. It took from Los Angeles to Bel Air, 39 hours. It's a long trip. It's a trip. Like, so yeah, I don't know how he even got there. Guess he drove. Thank you, thank you, Jan. I think I said it's all Be Happy too. Oh, thank you, Be Happy. Be Happy and Jan both gifted a membership. Thank you, guys. And Melissa got a membership and Pink Starburst got a membership. But he didn't walk. Yeah, no, Danny. I don't think. That'd be one hell of a trip. Do you think you can make it from there if you start walking in March? I don't know. That would be kind of a bad walk. So I'm going to finish it off with this video here. Tomorrow, we're going to go back to Idaho. But since we're doing, like, we've been going back to the beginning. We haven't done part 4 yet of our Back to the Beginning series. But what we're going to do tomorrow is go over the legal documents that came out tonight. It's just basically just a couple of, one of the documents just saying he has a court hearing tomorrow at 2:30 Pacific time, I believe. So 5:30 around our time, Eastern Standard Time. So I'll be on early to go over all the updates and all of the documents and all of the updates documents. And then we'll go ahead and we'll watch, if they're going to stream it or if he's there, like stream it after, if he's there, what we're going to hear after. We'll know. Okay, Brooklyn, have a good night. Where are you going? She's going somewhere fast. I wonder where she's going. Does she have a date? I'm curious, Brooklyn. Oh, hey, Music City, Mom. She's been a member for 2 months. Look at that. Oh, awesome. I love that. Blakesley, I kind of thought that too in a way, but I think, I don't know. I don't know if that's just like, I kind of thought that he looked a little like, I don't know. It just, his skin is like darker, but his hair, like, to me kind of reminded me of someone that I know that is Middle Eastern. I think that's where I got it from. But I think that the girl, the victim in the first case, I think she probably is the one that knew what his ethnicity was. Because if this is LA, there's a lot of people that are, Mexican down there and Hispanic. So maybe that's how she was just like, yeah, I know exactly he's Hispanic, I don't know. Oh, thanks, Being Starburst. I do. I really do. She says you have some incredible human beings here, or humans here. I do. I'm very grateful for you guys. You guys are the best. Best on YouTube. And I know everyone says that, but seriously, you guys really are. You guys really, really are. You're my favorite people to come and hang out with all the time. So, and that's one thing too I wanted to tell you guys. like the reason why I go live every night and I'm able to, well, it's because I'm able to, and it's because I work really, 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 really hard throughout the day to make sure that I get all the lives ready for at night. If I didn't sit in front of YouTube for 23, let's say really, let's get real, 18 hours out of the day, then I probably wouldn't be able to stream lives all the time. But that's why I'm always here. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. It's just like a 4-minute video, just kind of like goes over the newest stuff that's been going on. We just haven't watched Banfield in a while, and I figured we could watch her. She was on vacation for a while.
So it's been more than 2 weeks since Rachel Morin was murdered, right? And, no suspects for quite some time. And then Shazam, on Thursday, we got such great news. Not only had they found DNA that matched a guy in LA who had committed this home invasion assault, and then we got video of him. Not the face, but pretty good video of the side of his face and him leaving, his haircut, the gait, his back, his shape, everything, right? But we do not have a suspect in this urgent coast-to-coast manhunt. Still don't have that guy, which is weird. Because I would think you get the DNA, you find that guy, then you do genealogy to find out who he actually is, not just the picture that matched the DNA he left in that assault scene, right? So as we are waiting for who did this to Rachel Morin, the people of Maryland were honoring Rachel. I don't know if you saw this weekend, but I do want to show you, because on Saturday morning, hundreds of people packed the trail where, look at this. This is so nice. They all came out to honor Rachel. They did the walk. They walked the route that she walked. They brought flowers. They brought those battery operated candles to line the trail. And then Rachel's boyfriend, Richard Tobin, who, people thought he was a suspect at first, right? Because he was like a new boyfriend. He posted this picture on his Facebook, and he wrote this: "Making you happy gave me joy every day, and I'm so glad I could give you that love. Such a kind, genuine woman, mom, sister, and daughter." And let's not forget, she's a mom of 5 kids. 5 kids. I want to bring in Robin Dreek. He's a retired FBI special agent who ran the Bureau's Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program. Robin, why? I mean, it's just kind of the simple question, but maybe there's so much more to it. They have DNA. They found a link to DNA on an assault in LA that they still haven't caught the guy. He's out there somewhere. They got the video of him. Isn't that like you do genealogy real quick and you try to find out who he is?
You'd hope so, but we got to watch out for the CSI effect, and that is, it doesn't go like that all the time. If you have no data in, there's going to be no data out. And I was just researching the stats on this, and yes, there's about a 60% average if you are in the family tree databases that are uploaded, then accessed by law enforcement, and you are in the United States and of European descent. But if you're not in that database and family members aren't in that database, there's no data out. So this individual either has no footprint by design or by mistake. And so that's why there's no match. I'm actually shocked and at least hopeful that he was even in it from March.
So it's frustrating just to be able to see that person and almost have him in your grasp. And, when I say nationwide manhunt, I mean it, because this happened in California. Rachel Morin was in Maryland. So it is coast to coast. And the fear is that he's going to strike again, because you don't just do these things and only do them twice, right? Shouldn't we just expect that killer is going to be striking again?
Yeah, if not in between March and now as well. That's why I'm really hopeful in this one, only because we do have some DNA. It goes back to March. The likelihood of victims between then and now, I think, is pretty high. And here's why I'm also hopeful. They assigned originally 10 investigators to this case. That means that hopefully there's a lot of work and leads that they're doing. Being able to identify this individual, they're now able to coordinate with LA's investigation. You actually have an eyewitness that actually was part of the home invasion that probably give a lot more details than just that video does. And so I'm very hopeful that they have a lot of things to follow up on. The way they're leaking out information, not even leaking, they're not even giving much information from Maryland right now, gives me some confidence, because they seem to be very controlled with what they're doing. Hopefully what they're doing is they're very much in control of thinking about finding the suspect, arresting the suspect, and doing it so well that they can bring into prosecution and conviction as well. So you kind of got to balance those things out.
You got the prosecution and conviction, so I get it when it's dribs and drabs of information.
Yeah.
Robin Dreek, always love having you on. Thank you for this. See you soon.
Thanks, Ashley. You betcha.
Okay. Let me, stop that, sir. Okay, well, that's what I had for you guys for tonight. So I was wondering that too, Black. She said the young girl hasn't given a composite sketch of the offender, nothing. That's what I was wondering too. I heard that, like, you know, I saw that on like Twitter. Someone was asking about that. They were like, why didn't she do a composite of him? Or, you know, like, so we have like a picture of the front of his face. That I'm not sure why they didn't. Maybe they did in California. And I don't know why they wouldn't give that to the people, you know, over in Maryland, but maybe they didn't give that piece to them and that's what they're going to do now. But I'm hoping that they can use some genealogy or something. If his ancestors aren't in the data bank though, that's not going to get him anywhere. Oh, I don't know. I didn't hear about that, Crystal. I don't know. So I will, Danny. Yeah, I'm going to do a live tomorrow for Brian Kohlberger's hearing. I think it's at 2:30 p.m. It's like 2:15 or 2:30, I think. I was reading over the paperwork today. There's just like a few legal documents that came out. It's just stating kind of what we went over in the live when we did the, it was an 8-hour live. So I understand if you don't want to watch all 8 hours, but it just pretty much is given the dates when everything needs to be due, everything needs to be turned in. If he wants to forfeit the speedy trial and he wants to, you know, have more time, then they'll get that all figured out, I guess, tomorrow, or within the next month. I think it's September 8th was the date he had to say if he was going to waive his right to a speedy. Because I was thinking if his trial is the 2nd and you already got your plane ticket and your hotel, how would you do that? You know what I mean? Because you got to book like a little bit ahead. I was just thinking, you know, you never know. You might see me out there behind Brian Enton, because, you know, if I go out there, I would super glue myself to Brian Enton because he always gets first dibs at the door. He's always at the Latah County Jail door first, like, are you open? They're like, no, Brian, it's 5 a.m. Come back later. So, I am September 8th. Oh, thanks, Parker. Wow. I looked at that paper one time. Oh, good. I'm glad. Because I was thinking that's what it was. So, okay. 2, definitely 2. Exquisite. Okay. And I had a little poll going, so we'll shut down the poll. And I said, do you think this guy has killed before? And 81% of you guys think he has. Wow. I don't know if he has or not, but he's definitely done something. He's definitely done something before this, I think, anyway. You don't graduate from, you don't do home invasion essay to essay, probably, you know, more than likely she was probably essayed. And then, maybe before he did the home invasion, maybe he was just a burglar, cat burglar or something, you know, like he went into people's homes when there wasn't anybody there. And now he was graduating to when there was somebody there. And now he's graduating to actually physically killing somebody. So, but thank you guys all for being here tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Actually, I lied because tomorrow is Brian Kohlberger's hearing. So I'll probably be on about like 5:30 or 6. I'll be on as soon as the video is like, we're allowed to have the video. And so I'll just make sure that you have your notifications on, and I'll make sure that I have a thumbnail and everything up and ready for you guys early in the day. So you guys will know exactly what time to tune in and, you know, all that good stuff. But I'll see you guys all in the next live. Have a wonderful evening. Lock your doors, all of them. Even if you're up on the 3rd floor, lock that balcony door. People can climb. They're like little monkeys out there nowadays. Make sure you got your cell phone with you, like, you know, next to you by your bed, just in case you ever need it. It's because no one really has landlines anymore. So I love you guys. Be safe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.